Gentlemen, there's 2 audio feeds left on the press box right here. Mic level out.
I'm here. No, no. We're just letting, because more and more cameras are coming. Yeah, that's for you. That's for you. There's other things for you.
Please don't do that.
Don't do that. You're turning the audio off. You have one more outlet here.
There's another outlet. We got mic level out on the press box.
Has everyone signed in? We're going to be sending out the materials that you see on there, as well as other communications. Just want to get your name, outlet, and email so we can follow up. Hello, this is Marcus. Yes, please let them in. Thank you. Thank you. Has anyone else still need to sign in? You already did? Yes. Has signed in? Signed in? Signed in? Signed in? You signed in? Signed in? Cameras, anyone? Anyone else? ¿Alguien más necesita poner su información? Anyone else? Email contact information, just so that we can send follow-up materials. Does anyone else else need a media packet? Thank you. Anyone else need a media packet? Less help?
You need tomorrow? I was gonna get you some. No, just, I'll, that's it. Look who's there. Lento.
Yeah, that's just a drawing.
It's already 11 away. What's our board?
Los tres son tuyos. Sí. No, no sé si a lo mejor ya tenía ya los tres. Por tanta pinche diferencia. Y está contigo. Ah, qué chido. O si sabía, no me acuerdo. Pero las tres, o sea, la más significativa.
All right, my name is Jeff Anderson. I am the founder of the law firm Jeff Anderson and Associates. And I am here today with Deborah Mulgrave and Josh Robbins of the Gross Greenberg firm, Greenberg Gross firm. And we stand here today privileged and honored to stand with a very courageous survivor who has found her voice and the courage to speak. And also the courage to file a federal action, a lawsuit, just late yesterday in the Central District of California Federal Court. And it is titled Social Martin versus La Luz del Mundo as an organization and all the leaders of it who either knew of and or have participated in a very grave criminal enterprise. RICO, sexual assault and cover-up of it, and trafficking, among other things, including. In a few moments, you will hear from Social. But before you do, I want you to hear from Deb Mulgrave, and then also we'll go to Josh Robbins, who is a former federal prosecutor, who has had experience in investigating and looking at serious criminal enterprises, such as this, we believe to be. So with that in mind, Deb Mulgrave, please step forward next to Social here and share with us more about today.
Good morning. Social Martin has a story unlike anything you've ever heard. The day she walked into our offices and told me about her life at La Luz de Mundo, I admit, it's strained belief to imagine that such a large, corrupt, and criminal organization could exist right under my own nose, undetected, with a global membership reaching into the millions. But as I got to know Social and spoke to more LDM survivors, a tangled web of human trafficking, sexual abuse, and forced labor began to emerge. We stand here today and we are moving forward in court to speak for literally thousands of victims of Nason Joaquin Garcia and his conspirators. Social's entire life, every memory, every crossroads, every relationship was defined and controlled by a circle of pernicious, profiteering men that took her body, her labor, and her childhood for their own benefit and sexual enjoyment. Social was trained as a sexual servant at the tender age of 9. She began to work over 40 hours a week for LDM when she was just 14. And every extra penny that she earned for over 30 years went to the pockets of the men who built their lavish lifestyles off the backs of their members. Even today, Social is stalked, threatened, and harassed by the institution that lied to her every day of her life. Not a day has gone by in Social's 33 years that has not been haunted by abuse, coercion, and lies. And what begs belief is that there are literally thousands like her. The lawsuit filed yesterday is the first step in dismantling a complex, corrupt, and powerful institution built on human trafficking and sexual abuse. Some problems are so pervasive, so daunting, that only by appealing to fundamental concepts of justice and righteousness can we begin to heal. A lone individual's fight against the Goliath behind human rights violations, modern-day slavery, and criminal enterprises requires aggressive, audacious legal undertakings. LDM is precisely the kind of organization, and their abuse of Social is precisely the kind of injury behind sweeping laws like the Trafficking Victim Protections Reauthorization Act, RICO, and the new national wave of sexual assault legislation. Behind every fight against Goliath, there is a David. It is an honor and a privilege to represent a true warrior of justice, Social Martin. And no one can tell her story like she can. It is with great honor I present to you my client, Social Martin.
I'm 33 years old and grew up here in Los Angeles. In 1986, I was born in the inner circle of La Luz del Mundo and raised to be the property of the Apostle Samuel Joaquin and his son after, Nassón Joaquin Garcia. For the first 30 years of my life, I was taught to believe that my body, my mind, my soul belonged to La Luz del Mundo because it was the will of God. From the age of 9, I was taught that my own family and community, that my eternal soul depended on me sexually pleasing La Luz del Mundo apostles. For nearly 22 years, I was made to work for, travel for, lie for, and give my body to an organization that saw me as nothing more than a source of profit and sexual pleasure. Hundreds, if not thousands, of other children before me and after me suffered the same fate. I come forward today because this has to stop. Generations of young children raised in La Luz del Mundo have been forced to become the sexual servants of La Luz del Mundo's apostles. Girls that should be playing with friends and enjoying their youth spend their time learning how to dance for and touch apostles. As they grow up, these children are forced into more horrific sexual acts. And they can never say no. Their parents, their community, and their ministers teach them that God wants this. That God wants them to please their apostles. And no one who speaks out, and anyone who speaks out, I am someone who has done that, and I have gone through this, the risks of being shamed and abused by the community that raised them and myself. For far too many La Luz del Mundo members, everything they have is taken by La Luz del Mundo. Every dollar they make goes to La Luz del Mundo because they truly believe their money will be used to do the work of God on earth. But all of the hard-earned money goes to making Nassón and his enablers rich. Even the treasured golden family heirlooms of La Luz del Mundo members are melted down to paint the house of the apostles. La Luz del Mundo not only takes children and money from its members, but their labor too. Many thousands of La Luz del Mundo members are coerced into working tirelessly in all conditions to provide La Luz del Mundo and its leaders. La Luz del Mundo temples in your own town, those are built by coerced, unpaid La Luz del Mundo members. The propaganda that La Luz del Mundo spreads online, that was created by coerced, unpaid La Luz del Mundo members. The food that the pastors eat, the celebrations that La Luz del Mundo holds, and the goods that La Luz del Mundo sells, all of them come from the hard work of La Luz del Mundo members that have no choice but to do whatever La Luz del Mundo asks of them. La Luz del Mundo has taken everything from its members, and it will never stop unless we make it stop. Nason Joaquin Garcia is in jail, but La Luz del Mundo and Nason's enablers continue to commit crimes every day. I know, standing here today, that coming forward and bringing this case will make me a villain at thousands of La Luz del Mundo services this week, and hundreds of thousands of La Luz del Mundo members will gather to celebrate the Holy Supper, Samuel's birthday, Holy Supper, all the same thing. And Nason's enablers will call me a liar and conspirator, and then coerce their members into giving their last pennies to help Nason fight me and people like me. And while they do that, Nason's family, friends, and bishops will sit back comfortably in a lavish lifestyle that they built off the backs of their members, planning the next generation of abuse and theft. It is time to say no more. But stopping La Luz del Mundo from victimizing its followers is not something that I can do alone. There are countless more of you like me, and I need your help. I hope by standing here today, some of you will see yourself in me. A very good friend of mine. He's an activist for human trafficking, and he says he does this because he sees all those little children out there like it was him when he was younger. A very, very dear friend of mine. And I see a lot of Xochitlitas out there. All of the Jane Does, not just the ones in the California case, they're everywhere. It's international. I hope you see yourself in me and decide that you do not have to be silent anymore. That you can speak up and say stop. That you won't be afraid any longer, and that you will tell the world what has happened to you, and what happened to you is not right. What happened to us is not right. It is not a blessing. It is not from God. It is not right. Your stories can help us bring down this corrupt organization. If we all come together and speak as one voice, there is nothing La Luz del Mundo can do to silence us. Thank you very much.
Social, please know that your hope, that those are being hurt as we speak, can now get help, and something can be done through the effort and your courage today. And others in the future may not know that this action that you are taking today, and to that end, is a realization of the hope that kids American kids in you want to.
¿Puede hablarnos en español?
We'll do that then. Josh Robin, former federal prosecutor, tell us more about this lawsuit, these claims, and the magnitude of them.
There are various dimensions to this case. It's a human rights case. It's a case about the sexual abuse of children. But it is also a case about organized crime. As detailed in the complaint that we filed, La Luz del Mundo is a massive global organization that for decades has systematically exploited its members in ways that are not only gross violations of human rights, but are also federal and state crimes. And it's been happening right here in our backyard. The complaint details one of the largest and most insidious human trafficking operations ever seen, in which LDM members were coerced into giving up their own children to be raped and abused by the leaders of the organization. It also describes the widespread practice of forced, unpaid labor, as well as extortion and money laundering, all of which serve to enrich the leadership of LDM. As described in the complaint, these schemes have gone on for many years. They've involved at least dozens of participants and thousands of victims. They've been directed from the very top of the LDM organization, which has taken extraordinary steps to silence Miss Martin and other survivors who would dare to speak the truth about LDM. But she's not being silent today. It is no accident that many of the claims that we have filed in this case are based on federal criminal laws. Among those is the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, which Congress enacted and strengthened over the years to fight exactly the sorts of schemes that LDM has been engaged in. We've also filed a claim under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Statute, that is RICO. That law was designed to combat organized crime, and it specifically extends to human trafficking organizations, which is one of its most important uses today. This case calls out for law enforcement action. We applaud the efforts of the authorities thus far, and we are committed to cooperating with them to help bring LDM and its leadership to justice. But this case is also very much about Social Martin. She is both a survivor of and a witness to LDM's extensive crimes. She has the right, and in her view, the duty, to take action in her own name and to fight for other survivors like her. This civil action and the laws on which it is based empower her to do just that.
Social Martin, the voice that you have shared today and the action that you take in this lawsuit has been detailed separately. You know that you did not have to use your name, and you did not have to stand here today. And in this lawsuit, Social Martin, under the California Child Protection Act and under the laws, could have remained confidential. And her name, but Social, you made a choice to stand here today and use your name and file this claim, this racketeering claim, this trafficking claim, this sexual assault and cover-up claim, because you want kids to be protected the way you want. And you have broken the bonds imposed upon you by this culture and found that way. And so, what Social wants folks in this community to know, that it's not just about this community or this state or this country. This is a worldwide enterprise. Engaged as we speak in the very things detailed in the complaint filed by Social, the details of which you can't read in it. And what I want you to know, Social, is we applaud your courage, and I'm grateful to you for allowing us to come with you today. I also want to say that I have been, and our firm has had the privilege to work with survivors of sexual assault, abuse, institutionally and otherwise, for over 38 years across this country and in California. And as we stand here today and as we prepared this lawsuit, it is to me the gravest peril we have ever faced, or I have ever seen. And we are here today, standing with Social, to sound the alarm and to expose the culture and the predators that are active as we speak, not just in trafficking, not just in sexual assault, not just in the cover-up of it, but in the silencing of anybody that would speak against them. I have never, ever, in the 38 years I've been in this world, been more alarmed about the safety of children than in this situation. So to you, Social. All right.
I'm going to say in Spanish now.
Okay.
Lo voy a decir en español para las personas que nos vienen acompañando, de nuestros hablas latinos. Mi nombre es Xochitl Martin, tengo 36 años y crecí aquí en Los Ángeles. Nací y crecí aquí en Los Ángeles. En 1986 yo crecí dentro del círculo interno de la Luz del Mundo y crecí para ser propiedad del apóstol Samuel Joaquín Flores y su hijo Nassón Joaquín García. Durante los primeros 30 años de mi vida me enseñaron a creer que mi cuerpo, mi mente, mi alma pertenecían a la luz del mundo, porque era la voluntad de Dios. A la edad de 9 años, mi propia familia comunidad me enseñaron que mi alma eterna dependía de ser complaciendo sexualmente al apóstol de la luz del mundo. Por casi 22 años fui hecha para trabajar, viajar, mentir y dar mi cuerpo a una organización que me vio nada más como una ganancia financiera y placer sexual. Cientos, si no miles de niños, antes y después de mí, han sufrido el mismo destino. Comparto mi historia porque debemos ponerle un alto a esto a lo que está pasando. Varias generaciones de niños que han crecido en la luz del mundo han sido forzados a ser sirvientes sexuales para el apóstol de la luz del mundo. Las niñas que deberían de estar jugando con sus amigas y disfrutando su juventud, pasar su tiempo aprendiendo cómo bailarle y cómo tocar a los apóstoles de la luz del mundo. Al crecer, esos niños son forzados a más y más actos sexuales horríficos. Y ellos nunca pueden decir no. Sus padres, su comunidad y los ministros les enseñan que Dios quiere que complazcan al apóstol. Y el que hable tiene riesgo de ser puesto en vergüenza y a ser abusado por la comunidad que los crió. Para muchos de los miembros, todo lo que tienen le pertenece a la luz del mundo. Cada dólar que ganan se les va a la luz del mundo porque creen que su dinero va a ser usado para el trabajo de Dios aquí en la tierra. Pero todo el dinero ganado con su arduo esfuerzo es para hacer a Nassón y sus facilitadores más ricos. Hasta los miembros familiares, reliquias del oro de la luz del mundo, son fundidos para pintar las casas de los apóstoles. La luz del mundo no solo toma a los niños y el dinero de sus miembros, sino su labor también. Miles de miembros de la luz del mundo son coaccionados a trabajar incansablemente bajo todas las condiciones para proveer para la luz del mundo y sus líderes. La luz del mundo mora en su propio pueblo. Fueron construidos por miembros coaccionados y no pagados. La propaganda que la luz del mundo divulga en las redes sociales fue creada por miembros coaccionados y no pagados. La comida que los pastores comen, las celebraciones que la luz del mundo tiene y los bienes que la luz del mundo vende, todo viene del trabajo duro de cada miembro de la luz del mundo, a los cuales se le pide hacer lo que sea sin tener opción. La luz del mundo ha tomado todo de sus miembros y esto no parará hasta que le pongamos un alto. Nassón Joaquín García está en la cárcel, pero la luz del mundo y sus facilitadores continúan cometiendo estos crímenes todos los días. Yo sé que al pararme aquí, al presentarme ante ustedes, aquí trayendo este caso, la luz del mundo hará villana de mí, de miles de servicios esta semana, mientras cientos y cientos de miles de miembros se reúnen para celebrar el cumpleaños o Santa Cena. Es lo mismo, buscan cualquier pretexto para ganar dinero de los miembros. Y los facilitadores de Nassón dirán que soy una mentirosa y una conspiradora. Y coaccionarán a sus miembros a dar el último centavo para ayudar a Nassón a pelear en contra de mí y esos que sean como yo. Y mientras hacen eso, la familia de Nassón y amigos y obispos se sentarán cómodamente en una vida pródiga que ellos crearon con trabajo de nuestras espaldas, planeando para la siguiente generación de abuso y robo. Es tiempo de decir no más. Al ponerle un alto a la luz del mundo, ya no victimizar a los seguidores, no es algo que se puede hacer solo. Sé que hay personas incontables como usted y yo necesito su ayuda. Espero que al pararme aquí ahora, unos de ustedes se verán en mí. Y quiero que sepan que ya no tienen que mantener el silencio. Que puedan hablar y ponerle un alto. Que ya no van a tener miedo y que le dirán al mundo que lo que pasó no es correcto. No es de Dios. No es bendición. Abusaron de ti, abusaron de mí y lo siguen haciendo. Sus historias pueden ayudarnos y ponerle un fin a esta organización corrupta. Si todos nosotros nos juntamos y hablamos con una sola voz, no hay nada que la luz del mundo pueda hacer para callarnos. Cuidemos, protegemos a los niños, a nuestros niños. Muchas gracias.
We will take a few questions. Before we do, let's, first, on behalf of social, there's a body of evidence that has been set forth in this complaint, and we're not going to go into that. But to every victim and every witness that has been out there and it still is, either suffering in silence or witnessing in fear, it's time. It's time to call law enforcement. This enterprise is claiming to have 5 million members across the globe in 58 nations, 15,000 properties or houses. And it's time for law enforcement to know more. And while the current apostle Nassón is in jail right now, this is a global enterprise that needs to be stopped. And that's what it's social. So it's time to call law enforcement, federal and state, wherever they are, and you can share your story with them privately, and you can also, under the California Child Victims Act, bring an action that can punish these wrongdoers in a civil action such as this, and prisoners for privacy. It's time for truth. It's time for justice. It's time for us to say peace. Mendoza, do you want to just summarize in español? Please.
Muy buenos días, estamos aquí gracias a que Xochitl, ella fue valiente para compartir su historia. Xochitl, muchísimas gracias, porque sabemos que hay muchos como ella que no saben que tienen la oportunidad de presentar su historia. Bajo esta nueva ley, a la ley AB 218, ustedes pueden presentar una demanda, no importa cuándo pasó el abuso, tienen una ventana de 3 años, pero este caso, como acabamos de escuchar, no solamente es un caso de abuso sexual, este es un caso de la violación de los derechos humanos de estos niños que han estado bajo esta institución. Entonces, les pedimos a ustedes que conocen de esa institución, Luz del Mundo, conocen personas que trabajan allí, personas que han ido a la iglesia. Si tienen miedo, tenemos aquí hoy, Xochitl, tenemos también representantes que trabajan con personas que han sido abusados, han sido usados también para viajar de aquí a México, para la trata de personas. Son unos casos muy feos, horríficos, sexuales de los niños que han ocurrido por mucho tiempo, y ya es tiempo que se le ponga un alto a esa institución, que es una institución de crimen, es una institución corrupta. Gracias a Xochitl, que ha compartido su historia, esperamos que ustedes, como están aquí, medios de comunicación, llegue a muchos niños y ellos vengan y compartan su historia y se den cuenta que pueden quebrar el silencio y que van a ser protegidos. Muchas gracias. Beatriz.
Social, come on up here. Let's come on closer. All right, we're gonna take a few questions here, and we'll start right here.
Can you describe your cooperation with law enforcement? Who have you met with? When have you been concerned that your cases are being brought forward?
There is a question, are you concerned about law enforcement, and have you been cooperating with them? The answer is, she has been cooperating. There is an active investigation underway, and to that, we have nothing more to say, other than they are doing their job.
Can you say which agency?
Well, we're here to talk about that today.
Xochitl, can you?
Question over here.
¿Cómo llegaste a la iglesia La Luz del Mundo?
Yo soy cuarta generación. Mis abuelitos del lado de mi abuelo, sus papás de ellos son de la iglesia y yo nací en la iglesia. Perdón, soy cuarta generación de mi familia de la Luz del Mundo. So, es mi bisabuelo, mi bisabuela, mi abuelo, mi abuela, mi madre, y mi madre desde muy joven se salió de la iglesia y mi tía me crió a mí y a mis 4 hermanos y ella me crió como sirvienta de Samuel, como ella lo prepara también.
¿En inglés, Xochitl, por favor?
In English.
¿En inglés, por favor?
He asked, how did I come about the light of the world? And I mentioned to him that I'm 4th generation. My grandfather's parents, they were born in the church. My grandfather was one of the first members of the United States, per La Luz del Mundo. And so I was raised in the church. My biological mother, she very young, me and my brother, we lost her to drugs. I had my brother here with me. And my aunt raised us, and she raised all 4 of us in the church, and as a slave, me personally, to Samuel and Mason, as she was to Samuel when he was 15.
So,
For generations and generations.
Can you talk about?
And the social story is one replicated by hundreds of kids and families across the globe. It's not in isolation.
Can you talk about how and when you left LDM and how you decided to come forward?
The question is what caused you to leave LDM? What caused you to come forward and share this long-held secret?
For the last year before, when I was with Mason, it was a nightmare. Through my entire life, it was a bad dream. I was just living it over and over. But towards the last year, I just saw and lived so many things that I really don't want to talk about right now. And I fell into depression so many times because of everything that I saw him do, me and the other girls as well, and young men. And when my husband saw the text messages, and he said, "This is very wrong. You're all being used, and this is not a church of God. It's extremely wrong, and what we're doing here is a lie." And silly to say that I still wanted to go back to church, just the brainwashing of that religious institution. All I knew my entire life. So it's very difficult to just wake up one day and say, oh, you know what, it is a lie. That wasn't the case. I wanted to believe that he was an apostle of God. And when his bishops came and tried to buy us out, we were like, this is a lie. It is a business.
When did you leave? Can you provide us with a date?
We're gonna take
Well,
one more
can you just answer that part of the
Very
question?
briefly in Spanish, you want to just give a brief presentation of what caused you in Spanish to realize what had been done to you was wrong and to leave this organization.
Okay. Yeah, just really quick.
Thank you.
We left, nos salimos exactamente qué fecha, ¿no?
13, no se me olvida, 13 de octubre del 2016.
Thank you.
13th of October of 2016 is the exact day that my husband and I chose to leave.
Thank you.
And, sorry.
Si me puedes repetir, por
Oh,
favor,
en Spanish.
cómo es que
Sí.
lograste salir de la iglesia.
Toda mi vida desde niña era todo
muchas cosas, muchas preguntas que yo me daba para atrás y para adelante, que no entendía muchas cosas. Pero luego ya, cuando ya estás ahí, ves que tus amigas lo hacen, tus familiares están de acuerdo, ya te acostumbras y crees que es correcto. Pero el último año, cuando ya me regresa a Nassón, todo ese último año fue el peor año de mi vida, porque vi cosas y viví cosas muy, muy fuertes, cosas que no me gusta meterme en detalle, porque me regresa a momentos muy difíciles, pero me metí en mucha depresión y eran cosas demasiadas feas que yo misma me decía, está dentro de mi fe, esto puede ser mentira, o sea, ¿cómo es que un siervo de Dios hace esto? Y luego otra vez, no, es un siervo de Dios, es un apóstol, y otra vez caía. Entonces, cuando mi esposo encuentra textos que Nassón me enviaba a todas las secretarias, nos mandaba lo mismo, textos pornográficos y cosas, se asustó mi esposo y me dice, esto está mal, no es correcto, esto no es de Dios, no es una bendición, Xochitl. Y tantos movimientos que Nassón y sus obispos me hicieron a mí y a mi familia hacer. Al último yo quería como que todavía ir a la iglesia, querer creer que él era un apóstol de Dios, pero sus obispos nos comenzaron a tratar como si fuera una empresa. Y ya los dos dijimos, no es de Dios, es una empresa, es negocio.
No, real quick, I just want to clarify. The Sultan husband may have
Can you
stopped.
guys wait for the mic, please?
Sorry. I just want to clarify that Social and her husband may have stopped attending services in the fall of 2016. But I'm not sure there is any actual leaving the Luz del Mundo. She has continued to be harassed, coerced, and threatened to this day.
I actually have my brother here, and there are ex-LDM members here who have suffered the same harassment on social media, disgusting things that they throw at us. It's terrible because if they really knew who this person was, they'd be scared because they swear by it and they say they know him. No, they don't. I know him. And those that are around him know him. And what's scary is that they're okay with it. And the other girls that have left just far away, they want nothing to do with him. And they are still being harassed that they better not speak, that they better not say. And it's all about, I'll do something to your kids, I'll do something to your parents. And I'm standing here before you today, holding the hand of my family members, my husband, and with the hopes that we're not alone. That with your help and the outlets that are here today, we're gonna let the world know that this institution needs to stop, because having sex with children is the most disgusting act that you can commit. And he's a dangerous criminal, and so are those around him.
And so, a last final comment. This powerful lawsuit brought by this powerful woman is designed to not just to stop him, the man known who calls himself the apostle who's in prison, but all those in leadership and in participating in this ongoing criminal enterprise that involves the exploitation of vulnerable adults and children as we speak. As we speak. Thank you.
Did you repeat that in Spanish, the last part, how she's being harassed?
Yes, sí, solamente decía que espero que con el apoyo de los medios que están ahora, que podrían sacar el tema de que esta religión no es una religión, es una mafia, es un negocio, son peligrosos. Y Nassón no es el núcleo del problema, el problema es la institución. Y sus obispos, pastores, sus amigos políticos que están con él, son peligrosos. Y tiene que haber un fin, porque así como tengo compañeros míos que son ex-LDM, que están aquí, tengo familiares también, igual que yo, también en social media han recibido cartas a sus personas diciéndoles que van a hacer algo en contra de sus padres, sus familiares, sus hijos. Es de miedo, pero estoy aquí ante ustedes para decirles que no me siento sola y siento el apoyo que tengo ahora aquí con ustedes. Muchas gracias por su tiempo.
Thank you, Social, to all the survivors, yourself in particular today, and all those witnesses and survivors that are coming forward, willing to expose this culture and stop the criminal enterprise. Thank you, Social.
We'll come back in.
No sé qué decir. Pero alguien van a regañar hoy.
¿Por qué te mandaron tarde?
Sí, a las 11. Yo entro a las 11.
Bueno, alcanzaste casi todo.
If anybody has further questions.